Welcome, Sina. What's your name?
My name's Maria. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, I'm Kita. Is it cool if we tape you today?
I suppose so.
Well, thank you for submitting for your glory today. We're going to talk a little bit about the 7 deadly sins. First, I want to ask you, what are your beliefs on God?
Well, I was born and raised in the Roman Catholic family, and through my experiences, I've accepted through what I've been taught. I still kind of argue and have some differentiating opinions, but for the most part, I believe that there is a God. I believe that there is something there that cares for us and wants the best for us. So sometimes it's not always clear. People get really passionate about it. It's not always easy to tell.
All right. I'm going to ask you a little bit about, I'm sure you know about the 7 deadly sins. So let's start with sloth. What are your views on sloth?
From what I've come to understand, sloth is more of depression, which has become a mental illness. I think people, through their environment, have become sloths. They just don't care anymore. But I also believe that people do have the potential to rise out from it if they're faced with the right challenge. It can really knock a person down, but it can also build them back up stronger than before.
Awesome. How about wrath?
Wrath is definitely a scary one because that can really destroy a person, just cause a lot of problems, and just make everyone suffer. But for that one, I also believe that when someone is hurt, someone else will find the compassion and take it into their heart to heal what has been hurt.
Okay. And what are your views on gluttony?
Most people see gluttony as then that you're eating more than you should, but gluttony can suffice for really anything, whether it be sex or just eating, or it can really be anything. Just overindulging in this and pleasure and sickness. And I honestly believe that people can have self-control, and gluttony is just taking more than you need to, taking what can take away from others. So that really causes an imbalance for other people and also causes suffering. But once again, I believe that people can control it.
And gluttony and greed go pretty much hand in hand. What are your views on greed?
I think anyone can become greedy, though they don't always realize it. Greedy definitely is something scary. It can cause problems. It can really hurt people, too. It can happen in many different ways. People don't always realize it. So, yeah, it really does cause problems, but I really do have faith in people and in humanity that we can work something out and the damage can be fixed and healed.
With greed comes envy, so what are your views on that one?
Envy can be very simple to fall into, just wishing that you had something else that someone had, or just like not being happy for someone. That's also kind of a really bad one because that can sour relationships and it just hurts. It can build up into bitterness and even become anger, and can lash out at someone. So that's definitely one we have to be careful about. Instead of just thinking of our own needs and being selfish, I think people can really be happy for those they care about.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. How about, what are your views on lust?
That is a very tricky one because that kind of gets confused with love and puppy love and all these affectionate romantic emotions. I see lust as people falling more into their instincts to form relationships. Physically, it's more of their animalistic relationships, and it can really cause a lot of emotional damage. For example, I believe that sex creates a soul bond, and especially if the woman becomes pregnant and the child is left behind, it can really hurt the child and the mother and just scar a lot of relationships. It's pretty bad. But I really think if people can learn to discern amongst them, and if they can really control their instincts, and I think it will be all right.
Thank you very much. For the last one, pride. I want to really know your views on that one. Go in depth with that one.
Pride is a very easy sin to fall into, in my opinion, because there's a difference between being humble and just gloating about how amazing you are. Everyone likes to feel good about themselves. There's nothing wrong with feeling accomplished about what you've done, but when you just take it too much and just see yourself as on top and better than everyone else, and that just really sours relationship and just makes it difficult, and you just seem to outshine everyone else and not notice what's going on around you. It just causes a lot of problems when you see yourself as that high up because you don't recognize the potential danger around you. And it's just just pride. All of these are just so bad. But I really do believe that people can rise from these, even though it hurts or it can be a challenge, because that's really what makes us better than what we seem to be.
And this might be a difficult question, but we're all human and we all sin. So, out of all the 7 sins, what's your favorite sin?
I think sloth would have to be my favorite because that's the one I struggled with the most, and I think that's also the one that taught me the most and made me a better person. Because I've been through sloth, I've been through depression. I know a lot of people suffer through it, and a lot of people just either want to feel the pain or they don't want to try and work through it, or some things just happen that it's out of our control and we can't fix it. I've been to the edge. Be honest, I tried suicide like 3 times, and I kind of live with the scars of what I've done and the emotional pain. But I think that's really the one that strikes the most because that's the one that we struggle with the most. Or at least it seems like it is.
I appreciate your opinions on all the 7 sins. So, I guess it's right. The devil made you do it. Well, thank you for submitting.
Thank you for interviewing me, and I hope you have a good day with this.
Thank you. Welcome, Sinner. What's your name?
My name is Don Zintek, owner of ZGM Fine Arts.
Awesome. I'm Kita. Thank you for submitting today. Is it okay if we tape you?
Yep, you can take me.
All right. So, as you know, the seven deadly sins are indeed deadly to your physical being and your spirituality. I just want to get some opinions on the 7 sins. So let's start with sloth. What are your views on that one?
I probably really oppose sloth. I've been self-employed for a long time, self-generated. All my energy goes into my own work. You have to motivate yourself every day. Although being in a creative field, it's not so hard to be motivated. But I don't have any sympathies toward anyone who doesn't really give 110%, and that's a lousy term, 110%. But you give it all you get out of life what you put into it.
Okay. What are your views on wrath? How do you feel about that?
Wrath. I used to think that getting evil or revenge might be appropriate, the old term, you'll feel my wrath, and in terms, I always interpret that as getting even for something that may have been done to you. I think as I grow older, hopefully somewhat wiser, you can interpret life through other people's eyes. So what you may have turned anger into wrath at one point may not necessarily be justified because you don't walk in other people's shoes. So I think I'm much more calm and tolerant. So that's my answer for it.
Okay, how do you feel about gluttony? A lot of people are victims to that. So what are your views on that one?
Gluttony. I think people interpret gluttony strictly on food. You can also interpret gluttony on how they do other things. There are all types of excesses in their life, whether it's drugs or food or maybe in some cases their need to suck the lifeblood out of other people, imposing their lives on you. So all these fit under the terms of gluttony in my estimation, and of gluttony in terms of excess of food. I think there's reasons for that. Sometimes it's medical, sometimes it's nervous energy, and sometimes it's laziness or carelessness. So I kind of interpret gluttony maybe in other terms of not just food and service, but how people have a lot of needs and, like I said earlier, suck the lifeblood out of you. I think people who have a high demand of other people's needs is more gluttonous than the traditional term of food or excess food and things like that itself.
Okay. What are your thoughts on greed?
Well, being that the election's coming up very soon, I interpret greed at a very high level. There are people who are givers and there's people that are takers. The takers are the ones that have excess greed. I think when you go through difficult situations, you learn to live on the means that are dealt you, not necessarily just within budgets per se, but put your value judgments on your needs. So in terms of greed, I guess it depends what you want out of life. Are you happy with yourself as a person? If you're happy with yourself and your friends and your partners, greed has a whole less meaning in those terms because you have what you want out of life. It's not always material.
And with greed, usually envy's right around the corner. What are your views on that one?
I feel sorry for people who envy. I guess I like to say I bask in other people's success and enjoy what makes them happy, but I don't necessarily have envy for that. I can just enjoy other people's successes, and I don't bring that into my life. So do I envy people? Many times, no. Probably in most cases, no. So envy is my interpretation of it. Envy is how I see other people, and maybe in the sense of greed, I probably don't envy them. I probably recognize people's talents and their successes in a different way than other people, and probably enjoy them as opposed to envy them.
Thank you. A lot of people have different views on lust. Let's hear yours.
Or I lust for coffee in the morning, about 7:30 in the morning at Tim Hortons. That's high on my list. I guess I don't think much about lust at all. Could be age factor, could be just my personality. I put value on relationships that I do have, and I do not lust of others, so that's just me.
All right. What are your views on pride?
Pride. I have pride in what I do because I enjoy it, because I can work with other people and enjoy their successes. I guess pride can be taken to a sin level. It's something, again, I don't feel myself, so it's hard for me to relate to. Maybe if I see pride in other people, I may just interpret that other than pride as, some level of self-consciousness or self-value that I just don't admire. People who have pride in themselves a lot of times can't earn that. But what I might keep internal in level of pride, in level of success, I don't admire as an external virtue of people. So.
And those were all of the seven deadly sins. I need to ask one more question. What are your views on God? And are you affiliated with any organized religion at all?
What did the one Democrat say? I belong to... I don't belong to an organized political party. I'm a Democrat. But... I lost my train of thought by trying to be funny here. Let's say that again. What was your question again? I'm sorry.
What your thoughts on God were, and were you affiliated with any religion?
I was raised Roman Catholic. I don't participate in church, mostly because my interpretation of a lot of the people I met in church were they needed it a heck of a lot more than I did. My interpretation of God would be that there is a God that witness nature, witness animals, witness the world where we live in. But I believe, I don't believe in my God, your God, their God. I believe in a God, a greater being than probably any of us could possibly interpret, just by things that I witness in life. So I have a trouble with God in relative to religion, in the sense that my God is better than your God, or my God says this and your God says that. So organized religion probably bastardizes the interpretation of my God. So I have a hard time putting religion in a sense of a structured religion and people in church telling me what God is saying. They're not big enough or good enough to interpret my relationship with my God, which is all of our gods. So that's it.
All right, let's go back to the 7 deadly sins. What would be your favorite?
Let's see, I don't know if I can remember the last 6 or 7. Give me a quick rundown again.
All right, we have sloth, wrath, gluttony, greed, envy, lust, and pride.
Well, I don't think I have a favorite of any of those. The one I probably detest the most would be sloth, because I know what it takes to accomplish what I do in my life. I work hard at it. I enjoy it. I love the clients I work with. But I have no envy, per se, on people who don't give an honest day's work. So sloth is one that I hate to witness and have no respect for in people. So that'll be my favorite for this moment.
Well, I guess you can say that the devil made you do it. But thank you for submitting. What's your name, sinner?
I'm Angel. I'm the owner of Say One Boutique on Elmwood.
Nice to meet you. I'm Kira. I'm a DJ. Is it okay if we videotape you today?
Yes. Do I have a written consent? No. Okay, yeah, you can do that. You can do that.
Thank you. Well, I just want to thank you for submitting today. I know that the 7 deadly sins indeed are deadly to your physical being and also your spiritual being, depending on what you believe. What are your thoughts on God?
OMGs. See, I didn't say God, right? That could be really lengthy. Well, I was raised Jehovah's Witness. You know, that means we witness Jehovah. Yeah, really? Well, you're sinning then. So, but I was raised Jehovah's Witness for majority of my life, and then now I'm a Buddhist. But I just believe in a higher being. I've never seen him before, only in dreams. But I believe there's a higher power out there. I've never touched it itself, but with prayer, I do believe you get there a lot quicker.
Yeah, coming from a Jehovah's Witness to a Buddhist now, I understand exactly what you mean. Well, as you know, there's 7 deadly sins. Let's start with sloth.
Okay, sloth. Well, I'm a spiritual person. I've always been spiritual from young, since I can remember, maybe like 3-4 years old. So I've always been in the midst of prayer since I was young until now, and I think it just gets greater and greater. I think some people get lost with prayer. I think they pray too much, and then they get confused because they feel they're supposed to get all this help when they're doing the prayer, but they've lost the faith in the prayer. So I think, for me, that's what sloth means. I think when you get lost in something that you continuously do, and you feel like you have to get something out of it, and sometimes you don't have to. It's just you do the good deed.
All right, let's talk a little bit about wrath.
Lord, we're all going to hell. Wrath. Oh my God, how could I interpret that? Just the destruction of everything, I think. And then destruction of a being, destruction of who you are. And then many times you don't need someone to destroy you. It's, you destroy yourself in the way you do things, in the way you live your life.
All right, how about gluttony?
I love to eat. I don't know if gluttony. I love to eat. Listen. Oh my God, how can I describe gluttony to you? About eating? I don't know. I just laying in bed eating pizza and donuts and stuff, and just like, oh, I know I shouldn't be eating this crap, but you do eat it anyway, regardless, you know? And then you're like 40 pounds heavier, and you're like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have ate that pizza. But one less slice of pizza would be good, you know? But I have my moments of gluttony, really. Like, I think I overfeed myself in many ways. I overfeed myself with work. I overfeed myself with ideas, and sometimes food. Butter pecan ice cream, Haagen-Dazs, the best. I'm not promoting them, but you know, they are the best.
I agree with that one. Okay, how about greed?
Oh man, I don't think I'm greedy at all. I think greed is when you want an excess of so much, you know, like this one little thing. And I've never been that way, actually. I think, I've been in many situations. I'm very simple, like really, really simple. Even when it comes to my prayer, I'm really simple. So I don't really like excess of a lot of things. I know how it feels to have a lot of things and then lose all those things. To be greedy, but just to want so much sometimes. I think that's greed in a way. But not that I want a lot. I think when you accumulate so much and you don't appreciate all those things that you have, and then that's when you start to get greedy. And then you're like, well, I could just have a little bit more. You know what I mean? Whether it's a little more success, or when you're talking to someone, you want more of the conversation, but you want to talk more. You don't allow the person to speak. And that's greedy in that sense also. So you don't really get the information or the knowledge from the other person.
All right, let's switch it up a little bit. Tell me a story or an event where envy came into play. Either it was you or another person, or just give me an envy story, a good one.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a spiritualist from birth, and I do tarot readings, and I do tarot readings in this place in New York City. And there's a lot of envious people there, right? We talk about envy, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of envious people there, and sometimes they just envy the energy that you have. There was a young lady that I used to work with. Well, she's not young; she's old as hell. But I just, out of respect, I'm gonna call her young. But and I won't say her name, Denise. I really dislike her, but she she was. You can cut out the rest, but not her name, because she's just a witch. And she used to envy me a lot, like, and I didn't know why. I don't know if it was because I was a guy, or because I was young, or because I had a great following spiritually. But she really disliked me, and she's a real big money maker doing tarot readings, but she was a gamer. I call it the fear factor. Like, she knows how to put fear into people and make them spend money. So she'll say, you know, you're going to die, you're going to be in a car accident, you're going to get this and that. And she'll scare people into paying her a lot of money. And since I didn't do that, and people used to line up for me, like the store would open from 10 to 6:30, and people would be outside waiting for me from 5 o'clock in the morning. People would fly in from Jamaica, from Trinidad, from Florida, from Brazil, like from all over, just to really see me to get a reading. And for me, it was really intense, and I was really humbled by that. But she was really envious, because she's like, why don't I get all these people? But she wasn't happy with all the money she was making, because she wanted not only all the money, but she wanted all the people at the same time. You know what I mean? So we just had to go through a little breakup. You know, we never spoke anyway, but she used to envy me a lot. So long story short, I had a dream that I was battling the devil, right? And in the dream, the devil was ripping up these pages from a book, and he just, like, you know, grabbed it and tossed it, like, and they would turn into balls, and they would hit me in my face. This is a real dream I'm talking to you about. And I kept falling, and one of the page, when he ripped the page and he threw it at me, I looked at the page and I opened it up, like, in my, you know, my mind, and it said 109. So the next morning, I opened up the Bible and I read the 109th Psalm, and it was a really intense. It's a very strong scripture, because, and I'm not a Bible reader, but it talks about your enemy, put swords in their mouths and blind your enemy, whoever they are. And so I didn't see her for the next couple of days. She didn't come into work. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of odd, because these are the days that she makes a lot of money. And she had a car accident. But then when she did come in, and she said, "Oh, Angel, me and her again, we don't speak." So she pulled me into her room and she says, "Can I talk to you? Because I had a weird dream about you before I got into the car accident." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." She said, "I had this dream and I don't know what it means, but me and you got into this argument in the dream, and I just kept throwing like these balls of paper at your face." So to me, she represented not just the devil, because it was him in the dream, but this negative entity that was not appreciative of what, so kept knocking me down. And then that taught me, you know what, I have to stay up on my prayer, whether it's from the Bible or whether it's a chant or, whether it's just an or maybe just sitting alone somewhere in the house and just, meditating. That's something that I needed to continuously do, because you never know who your enemy is or what disguise they have. That's my story on envy.
I really appreciate that. But yeah, that's intense. Let's go on lust. Oh yeah. I knew you'd enjoy this one. Let's hear it.
Why?
A story, an event, anything. You don't have to do a story, just whatever comes to your head when you think of lust.
I can't talk about lust like that, and then I think of Toronto and other stuff. What happens in Canada stays in Canada. That's what they told me. But those videotapes, they're everywhere now. No, I'm joking. Lust. Oh wow. I think I'm a lustful person. I think I'm very sexual and sensual since I was young. I think as the older I got, my lust became more. Like I want more. Like I want to, feel touched, get touched. Sometimes I don't want to touch. I just want to get touched. You want to. I'm telling you, I'm just a lustful person. Like I want to feel. I don't even think it's love. I think it's just that moment that you get, and you think that you could put it behind you, and you can, but it's just the thought of, this is so bad, but it is so good at the same time. That's why whatever happens in Canada stays in Canada. So you want to start? No, yeah, that was my story.
Well, thank you. And that is true, damn right. All right, how about pride? Let's talk a little bit about that one.
I have a lot of pride in things that I do. I think pride to me is because the way I am, I'm very mindful of everyone that I get in contact with and who I speak to, how I encounter with them. I'm a very, very hard worker. And I put a lot of pride into everything that I do, especially when I design or when I come up with a concept. Even when I'm designing and I'm sewing, I pray. That's why it takes me sometimes. People are like, oh, it takes you forever to do an outfit or something. But I pray with every stitch that is in that machine. Either chanting or I'm doing, Padre nuestro, está en los cielos, santificado sea tu nombre, venga tu reino, hágase su voluntad en la tierra como en el cielo. I'm doing my Our Father, and I'm praying into this garment. And so when people see the things that I've prepared without knowing that I prepared them, they want them so bad. They're like, I have to have this item. Kind of like the bracelets and so forth, you know what I mean? Because everything that I have in that store that comes through my hands personally, I chant and I sage them and I put this energy into them, because the same way I'm prepared and blessed, I want everyone to have that item to feel the same way and to go through the same things that I'm going through.
Well, thank you. Alrighty, let's hear it. What's your favorite sin?
I'm gonna say lust. You didn't know nothing. I think lust. I mean, I think we're lustful for a lot of things, honestly. Like, people lust for work, people lust for love, people lust, to, you can see a brand new car and someone having it, you're like, oh wow, the things I would do in that car. I mean, I don't know if it's the scent of the car, the way the car is shaped, and I can see people the way they just feel up on their car. I'm like, oh my God, there's like this lustful. Because some people feel without a car you can't pick up people, and it's not just to give someone a ride. It's just that's the thought. You know what I mean? The concept behind the car is to really pick up people, whether you're gonna have sex with them or, you're just giving them a ride from point A to point B, or to Toronto.
All right. Well, do you have anything else to say for yourself?
I'm a great guy. I'm a real nice person. Yeah, I don't have no, I don't put out, the one thing I don't do, honestly, I don't put my beliefs on anyone, which is really weird, because I think politics and religion it's this grand thing. And I think those two things separate so many people. So when people say, well, who are you going to vote for? I tell them it's none of your business. And when people say, well, who do you pray to? I say, I pray to the universe. And they get offended by that because they don't have a response. If you say, well, I pray to Allah, Jehovah, God, Muhammad, whoever, everyone's going to have a rebuttal. But when you say you pray to the sky, they can either say you're crazy, or they can look at you and say, wow, well, things are going great for you, so maybe I should do the same. You know what I mean? So I always say, stay prayed up and do what you got to do.
Well, thank you so much for submitting. And I guess it's safe to say that the devil made you. Devil made you do it.
He probably did. I probably enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Number 4.
Welcome, sinner. What's your name?
My name is Jacob Michael Cronin.
Hello, I'm Keita. Nice to meet you. Is it okay if we tape you today?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Okay, well, as you know, there's 7 deadly sins, so they say. They're bad for you physically and spiritually. I want to ask you, though, what are your beliefs on God? And are you affiliated with any religion?
My belief on God is that it's a crutch for people to believe in, and it just helps them emotionally to get through this life. I don't really believe in it, but I believe in its power that helps people to get through difficulty.
Okay. Can you give me some insights on the seven deadly sins? We're gonna start with sloth.
That's cool.
Okay, sloth. Going to read to you. The roar of this room. This is my tomb. Vanilla-flavored death. The walls are growing meth. Blue neon headstone, feeding the boys that moan. Eyeballs that are rotting in my deteriorating body. The darker one is near. This feeling of death is here. The vines on the wall wrap and choke my limbs till I die.
That was beautiful. Let's hear rap. Do you have any poems or any insight on it?
Yes, I have one for rap. Screaming, crying, I want to break his neck. Every correction, every command, I am closer to breaking. Death water fills my eyes. I want to scream and kill. This angry snake will snap and infect you with degradation. Please don't agitate my torture state, but the commands continue. With angry, poison that makes you die. I scream until I cough up blood out of my eyes and ears. His face tortures me and whips me. And then he leaves me while burning me with an iron prod and leaves me like a cattle.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything for gluttony?
No, I don't have one for gluttony, but I do have one for lust. Shall I read?
Yeah.
1,000 hungry cocks encircle the temptress. The frenzy for copulation makes mouths drool and foam. The men grow ram's horns and round at each other to prove worthiness of insemination. The lone seductress laughs at the simplicity of the male ape mind. How can we be so advanced and enlightened when our instincts makes us primitive beasts? We should be put on display in a zoo. Pleasure kills thought.
Thank you very much. So out of the seven sins, sloth, wrath, gluttony, greed, envy, lust, and pride, what would you say your favorite sin would be?
Well, it's between lust and pride. Pride because, how can you not enjoy identifying with something? And it's how you go about your world and become a part of, feel like you belong. And when you feel like you belong, you feel alive and important and not lost and lonely.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you have to say for yourself, Sinner?
I want to be absolved of my sins.
All right. Well, thank you very much for submitting. And I guess you can come to terms that the devil made you do it. Have a good one.
Thank you and good night.
Welcome, Sinner. What's your name?
Suzanne Perry.
Nice to meet you. I'm Keita. Is it okay if we videotape you today?
Yes, indeed it is.
Well, thank you. For today, we're just going to talk a little bit about the 7 deadly sins for one. But before we get into that, I want to ask you what your views are on God, and are you affiliated with an organized religion?
I'm not affiliated with an organized religion, and I consider myself an atheist.
Okay. Well, let's get into the 7 deadly sins. I guess whether you believe in God or not, I guess they can kind of come into your life in some sort of way. Let's talk about sloth first. What are your views? Did you ever have a dream or any type of insight you have on one of the 7 deadly sins, sloth?
Isn't that an animal with 2 toes that only comes down from the trees to defecate?
Oh yeah. We'll go on to the next one. How about wrath?
Wrath. I wrath my arms around you.
What's your take on gluttony?
To me, gluttony means a fat pig. If you're going to overeat excessively, you're going to get fat, and that's what gluttony means to me.
Right. Any take on greed? Is there any situation in your life where you faced greed, whether it was yourself or someone else?
Yes, I have quite the bit to say about greed, but I won't take up too much of your time. I don't like greedy people. I'm the one who's always on the giving end, and I always get the poopy end of the stick. I do not like greedy people, and I think it's an addiction when somebody gets satisfied with things and then they want more of it, and it turns into an addiction, and that could extend into, you can be greedy on all kinds of things, from food to sex to robbery, all kinds of nasty things. That's a bad, yucky thing.
Thank you. How about envy with greed? I know it kind of coincides, but let's get your take on envy.
Envy is colored green, and so is money, and money ties into greed, which is one of the 7 deadly sins, isn't it? Now I forgot what I'm supposed to talk about. Greed? No. What was it? Envy. Envy is a pretty good cover band, but envy. I can't think of anything clever to say about envy. I guess that means jealousy, and that means you wish you had something somebody else had. And my take on that is that we should realize that we're all amazingly unique, and that should be recognized as beautiful. We are all beautiful people and should love what we have.
Thank you very much. All right, we have 2 more to go. Let's get your take on lust.
Lust makes me think about sex. I don't know why, but probably because I think that means like seductresses and things like this. Lust. I don't know. I got nothing. Lust makes me think of sex. I got nothing. And I mean I got nothing. And I'm single.
Oh, thank you. Okay, pride. Let's get your take on pride.
Pride?
Yeah.
I love pride. Pride rocks. I love who I am today. You know, I lost myself for a very long time because I got controlled by somebody who was lustful and greedy and gluttonous. So I guess I was married to the devil himself. Oh my God. But, life rocks today. Pride's not a sin or anything nasty. It's a good thing, and it's about loving yourself, and only when you do that can you love others. Yeah.
Well, thank you. All right, now here's the question. What's your favorite sin?
The one Todd Allen sings about. He's got a band called The Mob from Atlantis, and he's got a song that's called Seven Deadly Sins, and I love it. But I don't know what they all are. If I have to pick a favorite sin, I guess it would be lust for love. I want to spread love and have love everywhere, and I'm greedy for it. I'm greedy because I want people to be happy and love and giving. Thank you.
Right on. Is there anything you want to say about yourself? Anything else you want to add?
Love, peace, and believing in yourself. I don't need to go to a room or a building with stained glass windows to tell me how to be nice to each other. Simplicity. I don't believe in an individual as a god. I believe in doing what's right no matter what, and even when nobody's looking.
Well, thank you, and thank you for submitting today. I guess you can blame the devil and say that he made you do it when when you're committing your sins. Have a good one.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Rock on.
Number 5.
Welcome, Sinner. What's your name?
My name's Joe Kewin, and I am a collaborator in this piece, S4G.
Nice to meet you, I'm Kita. Well, is it okay if we videotape you? I guess it's your production. I think that wouldn't be a problem.
Sure, it's alright. I don't mind.
Very cool. Well, thank you for submitting today. As you know, the 7 deadly sins and deadly for you physically and spiritually. I just want to ask you, though, what are your beliefs on God, and are you affiliated with any religious organization?
I was raised Roman Catholic. I believe in science, and as far as religion, I just feel that we all have an energy and a spirit that travels from person to person, especially upon death. I feel as though I carry a few spirits with me, but I kind of have some disbelief towards God and a higher power or higher creation. I just cannot wrap my brain around some other world or place besides Earth.
Thank you. Let's start with the 7 deadly sins. Let's talk about that some more. Let's start with sloth. Can you give us an intake, a story, a dream, anything that you have on sloth?
As far as sloth, I think for the 7 sins, I'll just talk about each of my videos that I'm debuting the same day this video debuts, and for sloth, I'm just a tired clown.
Let's go with rat. Give me some insight on that one.
Fuck you.
Sheesh. Let's get gluttony.
Gluttony is like a group of chickens, like if you were to cross a human with a chicken.
Makes sense. How about greed?
Greed is having too much of one thing.
Any insight on envy?
I envy Mercedes-Benz, BMW.
Okay. What's your take on lust?
Lust is like a banana and a loaf of bread.
Good pride.
Pride is like a mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
Well, thank you. I liked your selection that you made there. Can I ask? I want to ask you, what's your favorite sin?
I would say sloth because I really enjoy sleeping. I could sleep for 20 hours if I didn't have to get up and do work and make art and stuff like that. I like watching and studying videos from anywhere from the 20s on, and I think sometimes you need to physically experiment with sloth just to accept videography. I also feel as though one needs to relax, and an abundance of relaxation has an equal and opposite reaction of an abundance of energy.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to say for yourself, Sinner?
I feel making these videos about sin, I've questioned myself. I've asked to some people who are highly religious and whatnot if I'm actually creating a sin by making a movie of each sin, a video I mean. So does it take one to show one to know one? People have said that just because I'm trying to express myself doesn't mean it's a sin, that I'm just spreading my word, spreading my belief.
Alrighty, well that just wraps up our interview. I guess it's safe to say the devil made you do it, right?
Indeed.
Thank you for submitting. Welcome, Sinner. What's your name?
Dario.
Nice to meet you. I'm Kita. Well, is it okay if we tape you today?
Of course, it's my thing.
Well, all right. Well, thank you for submitting today. We're going to go over a little bit of the 7 deadly sins. But first, I want to ask you, what are your beliefs on God? And are you affiliated with any organized religion?
I'm not too organized. I believe the universe itself is conscious and mindful of its creation. I guess in the sense the universe is God, but I don't believe in anything separate of the universe that's looking down like a fatherly figure. This anthropomorphized notion of God, I don't really believe in that. But I do believe the universe, is a spiritual entity. So I am spiritual, but I don't actually believe in God myself, the way that other people do, I guess.
Well, thank you. Now, since you're not affiliated with God, we're still going to go over the 7 deadly sins. Alrighty. So let's start off with sloth. Give me some insight, a dream, a thought, or anything you got on sloth.
Well, the best example I could think of is in college. I was pretty lazy. I think that I was not very motivated because it's very hard for me to do anything that isn't for my own head. I'm very used to, setting my own deadlines, my own restrictions and everything and meeting them. I'm very ambitious when it's all my idea. But in college, having deadlines, having homework assignments, having tests, I always meet deadlines because it's something that it just nicks me. I got to do it, but I'm really not a fan of, it just bogs me down having to do other people's assignments. So, yeah, college was a pretty unproductive time for me. Did a lot of drinking, a lot of smoking, all that stuff. And I just, now I'm, it's a lot better. I'm not, really, art is my vice and being creative is my vice. So, it's always amounting to something. And I'd say right now I'm not very slothful at this point in my life, which is nice. But I have plenty of experience with that in the past.
All right, thank you. How about wrath? Give me something on wrath.
I've had some anger issues when I was younger, especially when I was a kid. I used to get into a lot of fights and things, and I don't know, I was kind of labeled a troublemaker, since I was, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and then I kind of, I don't know. I told myself that I basically had to stop, and I've been pretty passive ever since. I think, I have experience with it, but I'm not too wrathful right now. I have pretty good control over it, I think.
All right, let's get your take on gluttony. Give me something on that.
I do love to eat. I would say, I love food. I eat a lot, and I just have a very fast metabolism, so I guess that it doesn't show, which is nice, but gluttony is definitely a sin that I would say that I suffer from, indeed.
All right, greed. Do you have any pieces that you created that are affiliated with greed or anything like that?
I do actually. Let me think. A lot of my work is well, it's a dichotomy of ultimate enlightenment and just like mindfulness and everything, like abstinence, things like that, minimalism, and in contrast to like ultimate hedonism, desecration, evil, and things like that. And hedonism, I mean, in general, it's something that's that I know it's in me. It's like something that possesses me all the time, and I just try and keep it on a leash, So yeah, definitely. I think almost every series I've come out with this year has dealt with my struggle in some way with hedonism and a more enlightened way of being. So definitely, I have lots of pieces that work with that.
Okay, thank you. How about envy?
Once in a while, you do get a little jealous of some people that you don't think work as hard as you or are as talented as you, and they're doing a little better than you. But I mean, it's just at the same time, you really just can't focus on what anybody else is doing. You can only focus on you, and I mean, that's what I've just been doing me for the past year, and well, all my life actually. But I mean, the past year especially, like I've been very focused on everything that I want to do. I've been very motivated. I've been getting very far with that. So regardless of what anybody else has been doing, like I've just been focusing on me, and I guess I've been pretty good with that. But yeah, envy is in with all of us, and I do acknowledge that I do have envy inherent in me as well.
All right, this is starting to become my favorite one because I like to hear everybody's opinion on this one. It's lust. Let's hear it.
That was my favorite too. Yeah, lust is definitely a drive. Very primitive. It's probably the strongest, most hedonistic drive of my existence. And it is what it is. I don't know. I'm not trying to go too far into that, but yeah, lust is definitely a motivating factor for a lot of things. I mean, in my artwork and yeah.
Thank you. All right, the last one, pride. Let's get something on that.
Well, I think the main thing I have pride in is my artwork. Like I've like in the past, I've let a lot of things slide. Collaborators or people that curators, different people that I've worked with and things that just haven't necessarily followed up properly or professionally, things like that. And I just I just always try and work around that and just see my art through to the best of its potential. So I think in a lot of ways, like I've become used to dealing with a lot of crap just to be able to get my artwork to where it needs to be. So I feel like I've kind of worked around it's like I undermine myself, my pride, to be able to have my artwork, which I take more pride in, reach its highest potential. So I think that's kind of how I suffer from that.
Okay, now here's the kicker. What's your favorite sin?
Lust.
You handed that back pretty fast. Okay, so is there anything else would you like to say for yourself, or anything else you'd like to express in this video?
I just want to say thank you, Joe Kewin, for collaborating with me on this project. It was very last minute. It was actually really awesome because I was supposed to collaborate with the video aspect on a few other people I had in mind, but I just didn't really have anyone clear cut. And then Joe hit me up out of nowhere and said, "Oh, I'm gonna be moving back to Rochester from New York City, so we're gonna be in town more often. I'll be seeing you and everything." And I was like, "Oh, perfect timing. You do video." So we just decided that we would collaborate on this project, and he just jumped on it. And he was actually been probably the best collaborator I've ever worked with before. Well, one of them for sure, because he's been on top of everything every single day, sending me messages and everything, and it's just been really great. We'll be working on a lot more projects together. So definitely have to thank my friend Joe before anybody else. Definitely have to thank you, Kita, and everybody else that's taking part in this. I mean, they're all volunteers, and I mean, it's just it's awesome that we have so many personalities and creative, intelligent people that are willing to support art. So this is what it's all about.
Right on, and thank you. I guess it's safe to say the devil made you do it, eh?
Hell yeah.
Okay.